Town of Keel Island for April 7th, 2026. Petra, could we do the roll call, please?
Chairman Farrell.
Here.
Mayor Bell.
Here.
Mr. Spencer.
Here.
Ms. Cozen. Here. Ms. Schuber. Here.
And first order of business is the approval of the minutes from last time. Does anybody have any corrections or edits or changes?
No, Mr. Chairman.
No. With that, we'll deem the minutes approved. Citizen comments on any agenda items. Okay. Old business, we have none. New business, we have two items. First is the review and recommendation to the Town Council for approval of the contract for construction management at-risk services for the Civic and Cultural Center. And the second is review and recommendation to the Town Council the approval of the fiscal year 2026-27 charitable grants. And so, Mr. Bell, would you like to open up the first one?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We just completed about an hour and a half long public workshop where the council received a report from our architect of record, Steve Coe, on the Civic and Cultural Center Addition project. That was we're at a milestone stage where we had previously directed that the architect and his team and the team present kind of where we are at this point in time, which is the completion of the schematic design phase, as well as selection of a construction manager at risk. And I would note that we have in the room, in addition to Mr. Coe, and we have Josh Spencer, who is Vice President with Edifice Construction. We did a RFQ for, we previously determined for a number of reasons I'm happy to go over, to go down the construction manager at risk delivery method rather than design, bid, build, or hard bid. And we can certainly talk about the advantages of that. I think everybody agreed, and it's a more typical delivery method now, that that would be preferable for this particular project. We went out with an RFQ for general contractors or firms to throw in the hat to participate in a selection process for construction manager at risk. I think we had 11 or 12 initially. Whittled that down to a short list of 4 to participate in an RFP process. We received extensive materials from the various firms, including not only their bona fides, but a rough estimate of rough magnitude ROM, rough order of magnitude cost estimate for the project, as well as their experience in building similar types of facilities. We had 4 extraordinarily well-qualified firms, all with a lot of experience in this area, specific Kiowa Sea Islands area, the Low Country throughout the Southeast. All had varying degrees of municipal experience, as well as performing arts center experience, community center experience. But the committee unanimously recommended edifice construction for a number of reasons, one of which was their extraordinary kind of attention to detail in delivering their ROM, their focus on specific aspects of this project. They did a very good job at the presentation, brought a large team, at least convinced the committee that they were very committed to this project, and we're going to hold them to that, assuming that the committee and the council move forward with the recommendation of the committee. So with that, I would note that we have recommended, the committee is recommending the Ways and Means Committee, and hope that the Ways and Means Committee will recommend to council not only the selection of edifice construction as the construction manager at risk, but authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with edifice for pre-construction services. And I would note that that's all we're doing at this particular point in time, is entering into a contract for pre-construction services, which will enable Josh and his team to work very closely with Capilia Co., H3, and all other the members of the architect team to begin to scope out this project with more granularity. And so, and that, by the way, I think the cost of the pre-construction services is a total of $30,000, including the construction services amount and expenses. So, Mr. Chairman, that's the background and context of where we are and why we are here.
And that's pre-construction fees, and $2,000 is
Yes.
reimbursable expenses.
Correct.
For a total of $30,000. Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. And at this point, I'd like to take chairman's discretion as part of our discussion that I would like to invite the two council persons who are in attendance to participate in this discussion if they have questions, but only the two council people. So, discussion.
That will help this afternoon.
I have a couple of quick things. One is, we've talked about.
And by the way, certainly we can direct questions to Steve and
Yes,
Josh.
thank you. One is, we talked about a contingency fee, and I want to understand what the contingency fee, where we think that would be applied. What would that, I mean, I know it would cover everything, but what do we think would be the most susceptible to changes in prices where we'd entertain contingency?
I'm not the expert to best position to answer that either, or either Josh or Steve. I would anticipate better position to answer that.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah. And thank you all for having us here today. And Councilman, our approach on contingency in discussion with Steve is at the early stages of this budget, schematic level design, we would recommend a 10% design/estimating contingency. It would be our plan at the DD level to reduce that design/estimating contingency to 5%. And once we enter into a GMP contract, that design/estimating contingency would be down to 0. And the only remaining contingencies left in the project would be an agreed upon construction contingency. And our recommendation would be 2 to 3% for a project of this magnitude. And that would be a total transparent construction contingency that would only be utilized with authorized sign off from both the town and from Steve and his office.
Your question makes me wonder, what are we actually, what's up for approval? We're not approving a budget. We're not approving the costs in the package. We're approving the selection of somebody to perform at risk.
Only pre-construction services at this juncture.
At risk.
Well, just pre-construction services. The whole concept of construction manager at risk, at least as I understand it, because I've never done one of these, is the end of the day, well, at a later point in time, we will enter into a discussion and they will present a guaranteed maximum price for the overall cost of the construction cost of the project. They're at risk at that point in time to deliver for that amount.
Are we approving an amount
No.
to pay for them because they're at risk? That's what I'm trying to get to.
They are not at risk at this point in time, and Steve can certainly jump
Well, if they're
in.
performing services though at this time, then we're not paying them.
The $30,000.
That's what I was trying to get to.
Yeah, that's all. $30,000 is all that we're paying. At a later point in time, we will have a collective discussion about, you know, a GMP and whether we're prepared to move forward and commit
The actual construction.
to that, yes.
Okay.
Come back and amend the contract with a new price.
It wasn't clear in the package
Yeah.
where that 30,000 was, so, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just going to say that the pre-construction services are a set scope of work and a lump sum fee that is to, basically you're hiring them to work with us to develop that guaranteed maximum price that they will build the building for. That's what this first phase is, just that $30,000 of their time and their scope to get to that point.
But I was trying to understand their business case of why they would do this for nothing, so now I know that.
One of the things that was, I think, appealing to the committee from, in selecting Edifice was that they, even before selection or the recommendation as the construction manager at risk, put a fair amount of time and effort into identifying both some long lead items as well as some areas where there could be potential cost savings if we made alternative choices.
All right, gentlemen, so one of the things, I haven't seen a draft contract. I have personal concerns agreeing to something without seeing contract.
Mr.
Now,
Councilmember,
that was more of the GMP, but the kinds of things have to be added into it.
So-
I received it 8:30 last night by email, and I didn't know I had it in my email box until 9 o'clock this morning.
so what I
So
wanted.
I didn't have a chance to go through it.
Yeah, so what I wanted to say is that, yes, that AIA contract is really for the pre-construction. And what I put in the email is that it will be reviewed, and if you have any comments with regards to just essentially the pre-construction portion first, because
Yes, I
then
understand that.
to please
Yes.
submit that to us, nothing, the mayor will not sign it until
However,
that's done.
I have a problem entering into a contract without seeing what the final contract is.
Correct.
That's what I was
Correct.
trying to get at, is the packet here lists the glossies and all that, and has costs for construction estimates, but it doesn't show
Now,
what we're
certain
actually
things that
approving.
We'll
certain
have
things,
costs for
remember,
construction
I'm the
somewhere.
only guy here who's been a construction manager in the past. Certain things that I want to see in the contract are what is a deliverable or deliverables for the schedule during the pre-construction? What are the deliverables for the cost estimating? I have my own opinions what have to be done with respect to schedule, presentation, that have to be submitted and approved, what has to be for cost. I don't know what's in this contract yet because I haven't even read it yet.
So just to be clear, we're not approving the contract. What would we be approving is the mayor to enter into a contract.
I know,
And
but that's part of my problem.
And so I represent, there will be no contract entered into unless and until there's been ample opportunity for you and anybody else who's interested to review it and give me, and provide any suggested changes or edits.
I have confidence in
This is
faith.
like a cart before the horse. I have a hard time doing it. I really
Let me ask a question, because maybe this.
That's kind of
maybe
how
this
we
helps.
typically do.
No, it is not in construction.
So I think what we're doing is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we're approving $30,000 for these guys to work together to develop a budget that will then be put into the contract. So you want all the details about the process and the scheduling. I want the details about the money. Both of those have to come together before they can present a contract to us.
Yes.
So
There will
this
be-
is just to get the money side of it before
No,
they
but
get.
there are certain deliverables that have to be provided during the pre-construction phase as well. It's not just the money.
I actually.
Steve,
I
those
actually-
are already in the AIA, aren't they?
Well, they are, but I actually think a clarification is that what you're approving is for the mayor to enter into contract negotiations with Edifice to develop that contract that you will sign that includes $30,000 of pre-construction services and what's in that $30,000. That's what the motion would be today. It's not the contract, because we haven't negotiated what's in that contract.
I know,
Now,
but-
and it
but
was,
At some point, this is just odd. This is gonna be the largest contract ultimately that we're gonna enter into, and I wanna know what the terms and conditions are. I wanna know what the deliverables are, even if it's just
But
pre-construction.
we're a long way from the amendment to the AI contract that would have
understand that.
all of those cost
I
elements.
understand, but there are still certain deliverables that have to be done
agreed.
Yes,
now.
and that's exactly what we're going to start today, as soon as we do this, to try to hammer all that out. And again, you're a member of the committee. We'll be reviewing all of that
And
before I
Councilmember
approve.
Berner, you have the draft contract, so what I would suggest is that we can sit down, and you can sit down, take a look. You can submit to me all your comments and edits, and because I still have to give it to the attorney, and then we'll make sure that they're incorporated in.
Well, the
I'll just
problem-
add, I
the
don't
problem
have
was,
it,
again,
though.
I received
Pardon
it
me?
I
by
don't have
mail,
Yeah, I
8:30 last night, and I didn't open it until 9 o'clock this morning.
But it
So-
hasn't been negotiated yet.
I will
But
also,
it's the working draft.
And I don't have it either, and that goes back to my original question, what are we approving? And I'm still fuzzy on that.
I'm sorry, maybe check your email. It was sent, you were
Last
included in-
night?
I'll
Well, then.
also,
We're only approving.
Sorry, I turned my email off. I didn't
We're
look last
approving two things. One, the design, the committees, the building committee's recommendation to hire Edifice Construction to, at this juncture, provide pre-construction services for a total exposure of $30,000 over the next anticipated, what, about 4 or 5 months?
So will the contract then come back for approval again after you negotiate it? Is that part of this process?
Not it is not anticipated, this motion, the second part of the motion is to enter into contract negotiations with respect to the scope of services to be provided for that $30,000 and the deliverables associated with that, which I will invite, input from council members or whomever else. Again, yes, at some point, once we do that, Steve has to be part of that, Josh has to be part of that, Russ will be part of that, you can provide input. At some point, I'll say, good, we're good to go, I'll sign that, and we're on the hook for $30,000
So
in a
that's
relationship.
Not how
second-
we do other contracts.
and
So
the
we've
sec-
always brought the completed contracts
No,
post-negotiation.
The second
many times we
portion-
authorize the mayor
Right.
or whomever to enter into contract
And because
negotiations.
with this contract, remember, we're doing CMAR, so we have to do the 30,000, they're working with us during the pre-construction. Then, if we all have essentially what they provide in terms of the guaranteed price, if you all agree to it, then that contract then has to be amended. I think that portion, when it's amended, can then come back to you all to approve that amended contract that would show the agreed-upon dollar amount of
I'm
2
not trying to
million
block the-
or 13 million.
Is this negotiation going to happen for pre-construction?
Pardon?
When is the pre-construction negotiation happening?
I assume as soon as we take action.
And at some point, I have to be involved.
I just said, you.
I know, but we then have to communicate, and then we have to communicate with Josh.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of communication before that contract then gets
Absolutely.
successfully
the goal
negotiated.
is-
So when is that happening?
In this next handful
over
of,
the
your next
2
handful of
weeks.
days.
Over the next 2 weeks, I would imagine,
2
because
weeks.
the attorneys need to see it, you need to see it. I'll say a couple of things. One, the draft contract was provided to all of the CMs in the RFQ and RFP process. So their response to that, their price for their pre-construction services was based on what's in that contract, but it also can be negotiated. That's the purpose of
I
the
know,
next
but
2 weeks.
I'm probably going to be asking for things
Sure,
that were not in the draft.
you might. And I think that's part of the negotiations that we need to get through. Yes.
And as always, if we can't, there are plenty of other instances where you authorize the mayor to enter in contract. If you're not able to successfully enter into contract negotiations, execute and finalize contract negotiations, then you're back to square one.
And
My
then-
anticipation is that we will get there and get there fairly readily.
And this is helpful, it's just when I closed my email last night, I had no idea what was coming before us to approve.
Okay. It's Stephanie's email, I thought outlined that pretty well, but if we didn't communicate as early as we could have. But the key point is, there is no approval whatsoever for overall project scope or spending a dime beyond the $30,000. All of that will come back to council. And in fact, we have other milestone presentations long before we get to that point.
Okay, so I'm okay with this. So we talked about the next few days, we're going to get together, we're going to meet heads, and we're going to have a series of stuff. We already talked to Josh. He knows what I'm looking for.
Okay.
And he has a list that he's going to give to me, which he's okay with already. So, but that list has to be incorporated into the contract.
Absolutely.
Mayor Bell, we usually attach a pre-construction scope of services as an exhibit to the contract that line items out all those deliverables that Russ is talking to here.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Hot stir.
Thank you, Councilmember Byrd. Councilmember Kay, would you? Mr. Chairman?
Anything else from you?
I now have a better idea what we're approving.
We're approving the mayor to authorize the mayor to negotiate the contract and authorizing $30,000.
To negotiate only the
Pre-construction services.
a contract for pre-construction services.
Offering $30,000 for those guys to perform the pre-construction services work that needs to be done to determine the cost of the final contract.
Okay.
Okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes.
Is this supposed to be the easy one?
This was the easy one, yes. Number 2 is to review the recommendation of Town Council for the approval of the fiscal year 2026-27 charitable grant funding amounts. And let me just start by saying that we give out grants to the community every year. This year, we actually increased, because of inflation and the issues, especially around food, at the behest of myself and the mayor, we increased the budget from $200,000 to $250,000. We also ask for the staff to focus on 3 really important things. And Stephanie, I'm going to get you to help me here. Proximity, food, and
Housing.
And fourth thing,
Education.
housing and education. And the education was, I requested that it be more specifically focused on, to use a colloquial term, reading and writing and arithmetic. And so that's what our focus would be, because those are the most important development aspects in education. There's a lot of good other great things, the arts and sports, and that are all part of that. But we think they're worthy causes. We just wanted to make sure we focused on what was really important, especially in this inflationary environment, and the fact that we're giving away more money. So hopefully more goes to food, housing, education, and health. Thank you. So we have staff member presentations.
Yes.
You want to introduce those?
And before Meredith starts, she's going to give the presentations for all staff, but I'd like to thank we had 2 members, 3 teams, Danielle, Petra, Julie, Daniel, Krista, and Stephen. They went out and they essentially conquer and divide. They either, I believe, talked on the phone or actually went on site and actually interviewed all of the potential applicants. And they have a summary in the book for you all, but what they did was, if there was any questions in regards to the accounting process, I know Dorota, our finance director, reviewed the accounting process to make sure that it was in compliance with what we require. If they had any questions, I know they did a lot of follow-up with regards to the applicant, so they really, I think, did a very thorough job and reviewing and making sure that it met what they felt you all were looking for. And so I believe a lot of the people that are here representing the various organizations are also here, so if you have any additional questions, please feel free to ask them, but Meredith is going to try to she's going to do a great job and kind of give an overview in the recommendation of staff.
Meredith, before you start, just a process question. Do I need a motion first before we go into this, or can we just do this as presentation?
We're going to do this as presentation.
Okay, and then the second question is, do you guys prefer to go through each one individually, or do you want to vote on the whole package?
I don't have a strong preference, Mr. Chairman.
Whatever's most effective and efficient. I'm fine with the whole
I'll say
package.
whole package? Okay, we'll do the whole package then.
You're going to say something different?
Looking for input. Okay, Meredith?
All right, we're ready? Okay. Well, if I don't know you or you don't know me, my name is Meredith Blair. I'm the Communications and Public Affairs Director for the town, and I'm excited to present this morning for everyone. So the 2026 charitable grant, our total funds requested, $322,296. We had 21 applicants this year, and we have a total of $250,000 to give away, as Councilmember Farrell said. And our total recommendation by staff is $248,009. And once I get to each individual organization, if you want to come up and stand up with me, and just in case there's any questions, feel free to do so.
Can I ask a quick question, Meredith?
Yes.
So the 248, I'm nickel and diming the question, sorry, but it's different than the number that's in the packet,
It is?
47609. So it's at a new number?
Okay. Apologies. Okay, so our team won. Danielle Hensley and Petra Reynolds, their first stop was Amore Healing Kitchen. So since 2018, Amore Healing Kitchen has been providing freshly prepared, nutritionally balanced meals to individuals undergoing treatment for cancer and other critical health challenges. These plant-based meals are rich in essential nutrients, antioxidants, and phytochemicals, which help strengthen the immune system, reduce inflammation, and support overall well-being. These meals are prepped and cooked each week by teen volunteers and kitchen mentors, and then they are delivered by volunteers as well. Each delivery includes 5 meals, a snack, a dessert, a menu, a nutrition newsletter, and even some flowers. In 2025, Amore served 36 clients on the Sea Islands with a target increase in 2026. Their requested funding would provide 3 months of meal delivery to the 45 clients on Johns and Guatemala Islands. They requested $15,525, and staff recommended the full funding amount for Amore Healing Kitchen. Any questions?
Is there a representative from Amore Healing here? Would you stand up and introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Maria Kelly. I'm the founder and executive director.
Thank you. Welcome.
All righty.
I think, Meredith, it'd be helpful if either you or team members at some point can talk about why the recommendation was to fund some organizations at the full requested amount, others at no dollars or less than the requested amount.
So I do have notes for whenever we didn't recommend the full funding amount, I have a note to explain why.
And is Amore a repeat? I can't recall, a repeat?
Yes, so we have on there that they are a reoccurring applicant.
If you would mention that too, that they are.
Okay, yep, I can do.
On the slide.
Oh,
Right under Amore
reoccurring.
Healing Kitchens. I can mention it. Okay, are we good to move forward?
Please.
Okay, next up we have Arts Etc. For over 2 decades, Arts Etc. has provided financial support to increase access to arts education for students on Johns and Guatemala Islands. The 200+ members are women living on Kiowa and Kasik who volunteer, donate, and regularly gather for cultural education. Arts Etc. is seeking support to provide, through the Gilliard Center, its multi-week arts and integrated literacy and theater tour program to students at Hawk Gap Middle School and St. John's High School. The program includes main stage productions with accompanying standards-based lessons plans, in-school workshops, and a series of summer camp programs designed to enrich the overall educational experience. The requested grant money would fund 2 arts integrated literacy program in-school residencies, along with culminating field trips for 35 students in each residency. Our Kiowa Arts Etc. is a new applicant. They requested $25,675, and the recommended amount by staff was $0. The reasoning for this is because the recommendation not to fund the application is because majority of the requested funding is budgeted for administration expenses, and a duplicate program is already offered at the Gilliard.
Thank you. Is there a representative from Arts Etc. here? Would you stand up and introduce yourself?
I'm Karen Kurth. I'm the president of Arts Etc. And we appreciate we're a new organization applying for this grant. And we appreciate you taking the time to listen to us. We tend to raise close to $200,000 to take programs into the schools. The schools on Johns and Guatemala Island do not have the funding for these programs. where they are, most of them are Title I schools, they are able to fund things like school supplies and those programs, but the other programs, they are not able to fund. And so that's where we step in. And we work with the Galliard, we work with the Gibbs Museum, Charleston Jazz, Pure Theater, and we find funding for those programs so that we can take them in to integrate and help improve and enrich the students' educational journey. So thank you for considering us.
Perhaps you could address the issue that was raised by staff as to the actual use, what the funds are actually being used for, because staff indicated primarily they're for administrative expenses.
And I'm not sure how that got a little confused. Our director of development was the one who met with Petra, I believe. And we don't do the administrative work. We simply fund, they send us a grant proposal with how they're going to use it in the schools, how it applies to the curriculum, follows all the guidelines that the curriculum has in place. And we then take those programs and we make sure that they fit into that. So we're integrating the arts programs into the school, just using the Galliard, in this case, as a vehicle for delivering the programs to the schools. So if that answers the...
So just so I understand, maybe this is where the issue is, the funding is not actually being provided directly to underserved community members.
Well, we're funding, the Galliard cannot go into the schools without being funded. The schools cannot fund these programs, so that's where we step in. We fund the programs so that they can go into the school and integrate into their educational curricula. And we're trying to focus a lot of our attention on the middle school and high school, which don't have a band, they don't have a chorus, they don't have the arts programs, and so they're looking for support. And that's, when you're a Title I school and you are limited, the first thing that goes are the arts. And yet it can be, for some of these students, something that is just vital for them to be able to have in their educational background. Thank you.
Next up, we have Backpack Buddies on Seabrook Island. Backpack Buddies Seabrook Island program provides nutritious food and snacks to children in need on weekends and during school holidays so they do not go hungry and can return to school ready to learn. Volunteers purchase food weekly during the school year and then organize the food into individual bags that are delivered to Angel Oak and Johns Island Elementary and distributed to students in need as determined by the school's principal, nurse, child advocates, or the communities and schools representative. This program provides food to 250 elementary students on Johns Island, and the requested funds are allocated to food purchases. Backpack Buddies on Seabrook Island is a reoccurring applicant. They requested $5,000, and staff recommended the full funding amount. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. My name is Alan Stein, and I'm a board member of Backpack Buddies.
You can come talk to the mic if you wish.
You hear me?
Well, it's for people online.
Good morning. My name is Alan Stein, and I'm a board member of Backpack Buddies, Seabrook Island. And yes, we are two different organizations, and we have worked together to divide the schools in Johns Island and the surrounding area, so we each have our focus area in that fashion. I do immediately want to make one correction. The slide said that we provide service to 250 children. That number is actually 375. And as long as I'm up here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me, first of all, this is my first rodeo with you folks, so thank you very much for hearing our application. And I learned as a new board member, this would make the 11th year that Kiowa has supported Backpack Buddies, so there's a great deal of appreciation for that. It all is a matter of taking a small grant here, contributions here, et cetera, that pull it together that we can provide service for the 375 children. And to be more specific, the funds that you will provide for us will, frankly, feed children, about 16 children throughout the course of the year, and that would probably be about 550 meals that will be provided with the resources that you're recommending.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have the Barrier Island Free Medical Clinic. Barrier Island Free Medical Clinic provides free primary and specialty medical care to low-income, uninsured adults who live or work across the Barrier Islands and are facing chronic, high-risk conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, coronary disease, and related complications. In 2025, the clinic provided over 5,000 patient visits, realizing a 71% increase in new patients over the prior year. The clinic is supported by over 160 highly skilled medical and community volunteers and provides free routine primary and preventative care, labs, imaging, cancer screenings, adult vaccinations, and enhances medication access, as well as access to over 19 subspecialties. The requested grant will fund essential medical supplies and diagnostic equipment, including EKG and colonoscopy machines, and expand access to critical medications not available through donation-only programs. Barrier Island Free Medical Clinic is a reoccurring applicant. They requested $30,000, and staff recommended the full $30,000. I know we do have a representative. I see her over there, if y'all have any questions for her.
Who's the representative here? Would you stand up and introduce yourself?
My name is Melissa Frank, and I'm the executive director.
And Melissa was with us last year, and some of the council members have had been afforded the opportunity, which we appreciate, to visit Barrier Island Free Medical Clinic in the past. It's an extraordinary facility, and I think it's a credit to the Sea Islands. I think one issue, if I might, that came up last year was you had been expanding in beyond kind of Wadmalaw and Johns Island, and the issue is whether the funds that we are potentially going to grant would be directed, because we do have a restriction on the funds being used to benefit Johns Island and Wadmalaw underserved populations. I mean, it may be that others underserved populations are in need as well, but that's not the purpose of the grant program. Could you address that, Melissa?
Yeah, you want me to-
Yes, please.
Yes, thanks so much for having us today. So to answer your question, about 60% of our current patients reside on either Johns Island or Wadmalaw Island. So we have about 1,200 active patients. So we're looking at about 700 patients that this would solely go towards funding. The average cost of medical care for the entire year is just over $1,000 per patient. So that's the $30,000 would help provide annual care for 30 patients at the clinic. That includes their primary care services, their labs, diagnostics, imaging, whatever cancer screenings, exams that they require, and specialty visits.
I guess the question is, are those patients that this would fund residents of Johns Island or Wadmalaw Island?
Yes, and the equipment that we're looking for as well. So we're looking at a colposcopy machine as well as an EKG machine.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Camp High Hopes. Camp High Hopes offers an all-day affordable 6-week summer enrichment camp on Johns Island. This camp, scheduled from June 15th to July 24th, 2026, will aim to enroll 30 children ages 5 through 12. The program provides daily opportunities for campers to enhance reading and language development, physical and social development as well. It also provides opportunities for campers to enhance their academic skills through participation in a broad spectrum of STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics related activities, and takes them on field trips that are historical, cultural, educational, and of course, fun-filled. This program primarily serves students attending elementary schools on Johns and Guatemala Island. Camp High Hopes is a reoccurring applicant. They requested $10,000 and staff recommended the full funding amount. We have a representative with Camp High Hopes here today.
Good morning, Dana Rogers, co-director for Camp High Hopes.
Good morning, Christine Williams, co-director.
Thank you for being here. Next up, we have the Charleston Area Senior Citizens. The Charleston Area Senior Citizen Meals on Wheels program is an important initiative for seniors who experience isolation and food insecurity. In fiscal year 25-26, they served more than 175,000 meals to nearly 1,000 homebound seniors who were unable to prepare their own meals, with a growing waiting list of more than 250 seniors. Each weekday, their volunteers deliver an average of 500 meals, providing a hot, nutritious lunch and supplemental food, essential to maintaining their health, along with a daily welfare check, supporting seniors in their desire to remain at home and stay independent for as long as possible. They currently serve 52 clients on the Sea Islands at a yearly cost of over $100,000. The funding request would be used to offset the raw food costs, which is $3.63 per meal, for their clients on Johns and Guatemala Islands. Charleston Area Senior Citizens is a reoccurring applicant. They requested $15,000 and the recommended amount is the full $15,000.
When you say clients, or when the word clients is used, does that mean individuals, or does that mean families, or what does it mean?
Do we have a representative?
Or Meals on Wheels. Yes, client means an individual, yes.
So, do they get one meal a day, or 2 meals, or?
One meal a day, a hot lunch is normally what we deliver.
All right, help me with the math. If I do the math, 52 times 363 times 365.
Oh, you called me Aaron, so I didn't know.
Sorry.
I can grab mine. You can come up here. Can you come up here? Thank you.
Did I do the math wrong?
I think that 104,000 is talking about the total cost that it takes for us to serve one client for a full year. It's just a little over $2,000, and if I'm mathing correctly, that comes pretty close to that 104. Out of that $2,000 a year, each meal, the food itself costs us $3.63. So generally what we do with this local funding is that we try to offset that, and then with this local funding, we also are able to pull clients from the waiting list for Johns and Guatemala and get them on service without them having to wait. And so we are lucky enough to have 4 or 5 funders on the islands who allow us to do that for Johns and Guatemala. And it is the only area in Charleston County that we serve that we're able to do that for clients, which is really awesome. We thank you for that.
Sorry, Meredith.
Okay. It happens. All right, Charleston Area Therapeutic Riding is up next. I pass them every day that I've come to work, so I'm very familiar where they're located. This program provides an unparalleled therapeutic opportunity to children in special education classrooms from local public schools. In addition to a structured curriculum that combines horsemanship skills with educational goals, students benefit from experiencing nature and from having the space and opportunity to move their bodies and engage their minds. Students experience mobility, gain strength, build confidence, and achieve independence through riding and interacting with these horses. This program, professionally certified therapeutic instructors, they develop students' goals and a 12-week curriculum that focuses on increasing students' emotional, cognitive, and physical fitness to ultimately improve school performance and overall quality of life. Their requested funding will help to provide this enriching experience for up to 12 special education students from a school on Johns or Guatemala Island. Charleston Area Therapeutic Riding is a reoccurring applicant. They requested $8,596 and staff recommended $5,084. The recommended funding is for transportation and horses that were in the submitted budget. Do we have a representative? Hi, you can come up. Thank you. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Colleen Treppen, the Executive Director of Charleston Area Therapeutic Riding. Thank you so much for funding our grant in the past. This is an incredible program that focuses on literacy, math, reading skills, in addition to everything that Meredith mentioned. The transportation is a significant cost that the schools cannot cover, so we really appreciate you providing that. And it really does cost us about $9,000 to do a 12-week program for each school. So with the recommended funding, we can potentially find another donor to meet the amount, but otherwise will not provide the full session to a Sea Island school. This is a really incredible program that offers these special education classrooms a real opportunity to be rock stars in their school. They're often not the ones getting the attention or doing something interesting with their learning, but when they get to come to the farm, they get to learn so much and experience so much and really gain confidence and strength and learn all the things that they would in the classroom, but they're doing it at the farm. So it's really an incredible program for these students that don't have other services readily available to them and their families.
What would the funds that were not recommended provide?
If I understand correctly, I think it's basically our people. So if our horses could do it alone, that would be amazing. But without our instructors, the horses may be a little confused. But I think, am I accurate in that? I know you said the transportation and the horses were covered, okay, but not our staff to actually provide the program. So we work with 2 instructors per session. So they're providing the horsemanship instruction, and then we have several volunteers and a volunteer coordinator that works with them to provide the entire session as well.
Is there something in our criteria that doesn't pay for staff?
No, we were thinking that are those instructors per hour or are they salary people that they already paid?
In there, right.
Those instructors are paid hourly. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, thank you.
It's also outside the 4 primary mandates.
All right, next up we have Charleston Collegiate School. Charleston Collegiate School seeks to offer an on-campus SAT preparation workshop or workshops designed to increase college readiness and test access for students across the Greater Barrier Island communities. This initiative will remove financial, geographic, and academic barriers by offering high-quality instruction, practice testing, and individualized strategy support at low or no cost to these students. CCS plans to offer 3 different SAT workshops throughout the year. One will be prior to the March-April SAT test, one prior to the October-November exams, and the third one would be in the winter as necessary. Each workshop, capped at 35 students, will include 6 hours of instruction through a test prep company at a cost of $4,500. While open to all, the outreach will prioritize students at St. John's High School and neighboring public schools. The requested funding would cover instructional costs and be offered to students at no charge or at a reduced rate. Charleston Collegiate School is a new applicant. They requested $13,500, and the recommended amount by staff was $4,500. Now, they came to this number because this would be for 1 class instead of the 3 that they were going to plan to offer, since there's no data on how many St. John's High School students would be attending. Since this is I think this is a new initiative, so they wanted to do the 1, the funding amount for 1, since it says the cost of each test prep would be $4,500.
Is there a representative?
Hi, I'm Liz Boyd. I'm the head of academics at Charleston Collegiate School, and by offering this testing preparation workshop to students on on Johns Island. We're hoping that we can counteract some of the statistics that show that underserved populations don't perform as highly on these standardized tests as they could. So we're hoping to offer this for students, at no cost, as long as they have the recommendation from their counselor at school and they're committing to the 3 sessions. Then we're hoping that this will give plenty of students an opportunity.
How many years have you been doing this, or is this your first year doing this?
We've been offering, for this past year, we offered students a progressive pay option at our own school for students who are on scholarship at our school to be able to pay what they can. So this is our first attempt at seeing that students' interest level. So we had a lot of interest at our school, and we wanted to make sure that students across the Johns Island community.
So it's the first time you're opening it up to other high schools
Other
in
high
the
schools,
county.
right.
Mr. Chairman, I guess the one question or concern I would have relative to our criteria is we're supposed to be serving underserved populations programs. Is there any, income test with regard to this? Because, certainly there are low-income and underserved Johns Island high school students. Not all are. And is there some potential for self-selection, those that have, more aptitude, that are not necessarily as underserved as others, the ones that primarily take advantage of this?
We're hoping that this partnership can become between our school and the guidance counselors at St. John's to make sure that that opportunity is presented to all students.
I was heading in that direction by asking how many years she'd done this, because she doesn't have any numbers, so she doesn't know.
Right.
Okay. I think just the challenge is that unless it is in that direction, depending on who actually signs up for this or who it's offered to, if it's offered to all students, that's not necessarily a program that's primarily serving underserved populations, which most of these programs do. Notwithstanding the otherwise benefits of
right, and
SAT.
I think our goal is that we can become really close partners with their guidance counselors to help identify students who are underserved and will willingly participate.
I don't know how the vote will go, but my suggestion to you before the vote would be, when you do this, keep the statistics, where they come from, which schools.
Absolutely.
Guidance council recommendations, whether they're underserved families or not, to the extent you can get that socioeconomic information. That would be very powerful going forward, certainly.
Absolutely.
It was directionally good. I thought that this serves the broader community, not
just
who are
Charleston
paying private
Collegiate,
tuition.
yeah.
Right. Thank you all so much for considering.
Right, that wraps up our team 1. We're going to move on to team 2. Julie and Daniel led the force on these.
Let me just interrupt you for a second. Do we want to stop and talk about these 8 or 9 or 10? Or do we want to continue to go through the whole and do the whole package?
Defer to you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm good, but whatever you want to do.
All right, let's keep going then.
Alrighty. We have Connect, who is a new applicant. They requested $29,500. The recommended amount is $0 because the applicant submitted an incomplete application. Next up is Halos. The mission of.
You're from Connect?
Oh, are you with Connect?
Halos, I'm.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Is there anyone here with Connect? Okay, thank you.
The mission of Halos is to equip kinship caregivers for success, provide resources that support safe and thriving children, and advocate for a kin-first South Carolina. Kinship care keeps kids who might otherwise go into foster care with their grandparents, relatives, or close family friends, which provides stability and gives children a feeling of identity and belonging. The requested funds will go directly to children's items for the year, including critical bedding items, backpacks, and clothing, for 44 children and infants located on Johns and Wadmalaw Islands. Additionally, these funds will provide snacks and meals for 24 senior caregivers on the Sea Islands. HALOS, stands for Helping and Lending Outreach Support. They are a new applicant. They requested $15,000, and the recommended amount by staff was $8,400, and this was based on an updated budget that was sent. That is all that I have, so I don't know if you can speak on that. Okay.
I'm Jed Dews. I'm the executive director at Halos. Thank you for having us here today and for considering the request. My understanding is the recommended amount is minus a consultant that we use to work with the families who's paid on a contract basis, and that wasn't allowable, as well as 2 computers for the team that delivers these services to kids and families, and that the computers weren't allowable. But we are grateful for the recommendation, and I would love just to plug that when I started this work in 2012, we had 2% of kids that came through the Department of Social Services who were placed with relatives. And as of today, we just broke the 30% mark in our state. And that is huge, to keep kids with families and to keep them out of systems. We're hoping that that number continues to go up. We serve all 10 low-country counties, but much of our work, because we live and work here in Charleston, is based in this area. And we have right now about 46 families here on Johns and Wamala.
Thank you.
Next up, we have the Kiowa Women's Foundation. Kiowa Women's Foundation Backpack Buddies program directly addresses food insecurity by providing weekly bags of protein-rich, shelf-stable food to 265 students across Frierson Elementary School, Hopgap Middle School, and St. John's High School. The Women's Foundation maintains low administrative costs with 86.1% of income devoted directly to program services. The requested funding will be used exclusively for the purchase of food items throughout the year, including summer food distribution and Thanksgiving food boxes. The Kiowa Women's Foundation Backpack Buddies program is a reoccurring applicant. They requested $15,000, and staff recommended the full funding amount.
And this group works with the Seabrook Backpack Buddies too, am I correct on that?
Are you with the? Oh, please come up.
Oh, there she is, yeah.
Thank you. Diane Campbell, I'm the treasurer of Kiowa Women's Foundation. Yes, we do work in partnership with Seabrook, and we had a big change this year because of the new Johns Island Elementary School, so we divvied up the different schools. And so we provide the weekly bags for Hot Gap, Frierson, and then we took over the St. John's High School pantry. But we are a different organization. Our mission, and we go, I think, a little bit deeper and provide a little bit more food services and services for the children. Like, for instance, we did Thanksgiving boxes for 100 families, Angel Oak and St. John's last year. We've been providing, we feel that there was a gap, and we're trying to bridge that gap. When school is out of session, that the children, you know, if there's a vacation break, they miss a week. So we've started a program where we provide food gift cards for the children in our program. And we're doing now the summer bags too, so.
And the reason I raise the issue is there's not a redundancy. You guys work in concert, right?
Yes, yes, we are, your group, you have the Johns Island Elementary and Angel Oak. Right, and so we have the other schools. But we also provide, and this is outside of our grant application, we have also, when we did our negotiation with Seabrook as to who was going to do what schools, we said we would supplement their program by doing other programs in those schools. But it's outside of the grant application.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right, sticking to the food theme, we have the Low Country Food Bank up next. Low Country Food Bank collaborates with more than 250 partners to distribute over 40 million pounds of food and other essential items to more than 200,000 food insecure children adults, seniors, and veterans. This program is requesting funding to purchase food for a new school market at Angel Oak Primary School, opening by April 2026, so that's this month. The school market will be a permanent food pantry in the school that will provide children and their families facing hunger with the opportunity to shop for free, nutritious food. Low Country Food Bank is a reoccurring applicant. They requested $7,800, and there is a staff recommendation for the full funding amount.
Hi, I'm Autumn Reed. I'm the Director of Program Impacted School Food Centers at the Low Country Food Bank. So I do operate all of our school-based programs across the 10 coastal counties, including the new market, which actually opened last month. We were able to get it up and running early, so it opened last month at Angel Oak Primary. The goal is to provide 10,000 pounds of food to this choice-based market for children and families, where families can shop for needed ingredients for their home pantry, for their kiddos, and to make nutritious meals. It will have protein as well as fresh produce. They are, the market costs more than the $7,800 to operate each year, but the $7,800 is for food only.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have New Webster JIP Food Pantry. The New Webster JIP Food Pantry project's goal is to step in and provide food for those in need, helping them survive and work towards self-sufficiency. The program also provides resources for healthy choices to encourage better eating habits. The requested funds will be used to serve 119 families from Johns and Guatemala Islands, including roughly 224 individuals twice a month. New Webster JIP Food Pantry is a reoccurring applicant. They requested $9,700, and staff recommended the full funding amount.
Is there a representative here? Thank you. It's okay. Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have Operation Home. Operation Home's mission is to help people remain in their homes by increasing safety and accessibility by facilitating critical home repairs like roofs, floors, and ramps. Their target demographic are low-income families within the Tri-County area that fall 50% or less of the median family income. In 2025, their program served over 1,000 families, which included 69 critical home repairs, 94 ADA-compliant ramps, 825 AC window units, and 450 heaters. There are currently 12 families on Johns and Guatemala Island that are approved and waiting for critical home repairs, with more applications planned and pending. The requested funds will directly benefit Johns and Guatemala Island families through Operation Home's critical home repairs, along with heat and cold relief programs. Operation Home is a reoccurring applicant. They requested $10,000, and staff recommended the full funding amount for them. We have a representative with Operation Home.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Our Lady of Mercy Community Outreach. Our Lady of Mercy's Community Outreach core mission is to build equitable communities and empower community members on Johns and Guatemala Island included to reach their full potential by providing basic and emergency needs, education, employment, and health services. The requested funds will directly support the home repair program, which launched in December of last year. The program aims to improve the safety, stability, and long-term security of housing for Sea Island residents that are most at risk of displacement. These repairs will help to stabilize housing, prevent further deterioration, and enable families to remain safely in their homes. There are currently 54 home projects on the wait list on Johns Island and 22 on Guatemala. Our Lady of Mercy Community Outreach is a reoccurring applicant. They requested $20,000, and staff recommended the full amount. We have a representative. Hello.
Thank you. Just a question for you. One of the issues that's come up in the past is our guidelines do not allow for any funds to be used for proselytizing. So I just want to make sure that all the funds here go to these programmatic activities, and there's no kind of proselytizing literature or otherwise that accompanies this. This is going to come up not just with you, with some subsequent applicants as well.
Hi, good morning. Again, I'm Jonna Palmer, Director of Development and Marketing for Our Lady of Mercy Community Outreach. So to answer your question, we also track 86% of what we bring in income goes directly to our program services. This specific program, we do not have any profit margin off of it. It goes directly to the contractors and to that. To your other piece of the, to the other piece of the proselytizing.
Yeah.
We are not a faith-based organization.
Okay.
We were founded by an order of Sisters of Charity of Our Lady of Mercy. However, we are a separate 501c3, and we are no longer sponsored by that organization. So
Thank you.
completely inclusive.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Moving right along, Team 3, Krista and Steven. First up on their list, they have house service home repair, the Paraclete Foundation. I hope I'm saying that right, Paraclete, okay. They serve elderly, disabled, and working low-income neighbors on Johns and Guatemala Islands with repairs in an effort to restore their homes to secure, safe, and sanitary conditions. These repairs include all major systems of the homes, including electrical, plumbing, septic, and heating cooling systems. In every case, the families live below the poverty line, own their homes, but are unable to afford to fix them. This foundation serves all in need without regard to legal status, political affiliation, race, age, sex, or religious beliefs. Their requested funds will go directly towards 1 to 3 of the 30 projects planned for repair in 2026. Paraclete Foundation of Holy Spirit Catholic Church is a reoccurring applicant. They requested $18,000, and staff recommended the full $18,000.
Morning. I'm Nancy Foley. I'm a volunteer at the Paraclete Foundation and a member of Holy Spirit Catholic Church. Thank you again for taking our application, and thank you again for serving us. Guatemala and John Island are the only areas that we service. Our home applications come through phone calls, connections, through Our Lady of Mercy. We collaborate with them on their new home repair section. So the price of food has gone up, the price of repairing has gone up, but the specific goal is to keep our elderly and our working poor in their homes, safety, security, and sanitation.
How do you, so there's, I think, 4 applicants here that all do kind of home, Our Lady of Mercy, Paraclete, Sea Island Habitat for Humanity, and a 4th one, I don't see it. You mentioned coordinating with one other one.
We collaborate with all of the existing ones. With you, yes, Habitat for Humanity is John. If there's situations, everyone has boundaries and requirements. We not only do roofs and decks and ramps, but we'll also go into the situation. All right, we'll take care of the bathrooms and the kitchens if needed. We do mobile homes as well as residents, which not all are able to do under their guidelines. Operation Homes, we've worked with them. Our Lady of Mercy, we've worked with since our beginning. We are in our 8th year. All right, so we collaborate, trying to get together, and so we don't overlap our energies, and we can serve in different ways. Sometimes as a home, right now that we have with Our Lady of Mercy, we're trying to do a repair of floors, and we cannot, our scope with our volunteers are not able to do it. So it's one of their residents. So we're looking to find a contractor that meets the requirements, that's able to service, that we'll be able to pay for that repair. But 100% of every cent, we have no overhead. 100% of every dollar goes into the repairs.
And is that materials or materials and labor?
No, just materials. Well, if it's a contractor, it's obviously materials and labor. But our volunteers, we have about 15 contractors that work under Wayne Crump. Wayne is our project manager. And he'll schedule and go in and repair bathrooms. So that's buying the materials. But if it's a roofer that we utilize as a contract roofer, or a contract HVAC system, or our septic system, those are all contract with companies that are license bound and they have their own insurance.
And is all this permitted work? you get a building permit for this or repair?
No, I don't think we have.
Okay, don't say any more then.
Yeah. Haven't got- 8 years hasn't come up.
No problem, I didn't hear the answer. It's all good, it's all good.
On that note, right? Thank you. Thank you for serving, thank you for helping us serve the community.
The reason I ask is, I remember last year we had some applicants that had problems filling out the permits, getting the permits, knowing if they needed permits, but they were doing great work. So I'd just like to sort of understand what's happening in the landscape.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have the Sea Island Habitat for Humanity. Sea Island Habitat Home for Humanity Critical Repair Program provides critical repairs to existing homes on Johns and Wadmalaw Islands owned by residents living at or below the poverty level. Repairs are primarily for weatherization, security, and safety, like roofs, windows, and door repairs, accessibility issues, including stairs, handrails, and ramp installation. The grant is anticipated to support the replacement of 2 roofs though funds may be redirected to address other identified needs as appropriate. The Sea Island Habitat for Humanity is a reoccurring applicant. They requested $20,000, and the recommended amount was that full $20,000.
Hey y'all, I'm Emily Speck. I'm the Director of Development. Just kind of piggyback on what you asked her about, we're all doing this work. Unfortunately, on our islands here, we have a lot of people that are in need. So I could say we could do thousands of repairs and we'll still keep getting applications. At our office, we probably get at least 10 calls from new families saying, you know, we get a new storm coming in. Hey, my roof's leaking. I've got active leaks, or the cold weather's coming in, or you know, they need accessibility ramps because they had some sort of health issue that's preventing them from actually safely leaving their house. So while we're all doing the good work and we all talk to each other, I think that there's such a high need that we can't do enough of that work. So just something to consider.
How do you prioritize in those cases?
Great question. So ours is actually, right now, we are pretty much on a list based on the time. So whenever they applied, they kind of go first. I will say for accessibility, when we get calls that someone is either bound in a wheelchair or not able to exit their home, that takes top priority, especially in where we live. If there was a fire or some severe weather event and they needed to get out of their house and they cannot. Just last week, I actually inspected a property that the son was actually carrying his mother out of the house to actually make her medical appointments because they didn't have ramp access. This is not a one-off story. We hear this all the time with roofs, which is what we're requesting. We see people who have built these, I mean, they should have engineering degrees, in my opinion, but they built these contraptions to be able to move the water from their active leaking roof into a bucket. And, what we've heard from many of them, that the biggest relief that they get is the first time it rains and they don't wake up in an anxiety attack or panic attack that their house is going to be flooded. And so I can't even imagine having that fear every night when you see a storm's coming, which we get a lot here.
Question for you, but it's
Yeah.
really for all of you. How do you create awareness? So if there's a need out there, they know to call one of the 4 of you guys.
So we've got a couple different networks that are kind of out there. ICANN is a new one that has started really in Johns Island and Wadmalaw. He has kind of gotten us all together on this really great email group. We also do use Trident United Way's 211. We give them our information, so that is a free hotline that people can call for lots of services and needs. I'm sure most of us in this room are on it. And then also it's word of mouth. We've been fortunate that we've been on these islands for over 45 years. And so they know a neighbor has gotten help, or they see our trucks out in the area. And so they call us. And like they all said, that if there's something interior, which is the work we don't do, we do reach out to the networks and say, hey, we got this call. Can anybody help them? And we all kind of rally together to really make sure our neighbors are getting that help they need.
And kind of following up on that a little bit with all the organizations, I mean, particularly Habitat, you have to show proof of ownership of the property.
Correct. For us, we do require proof of ownership. That's just to prevent, I'd say, slumlords from calling us. And, they need to be doing the work on their properties. And so we want to make sure that that's the owner that's living in that property. We do also ask for proof of income. The families that we're serving, typically what we're seeing is they're on some sort of fixed incomes, that's disability or Social Security. On average, they're getting about $530 a month, and that's to cover everything. So when we're talking about a roof repair that can be anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000, depending on the status of it, that's near impossible for them to save the money for that to happen. And it's a safety for our neighbors. We need to help them.
Especially with heirs property owners, can there be
100%.
challenges in proving ownership?
No, what we do for that is more so who's paying the electricity bill, who's paying the tax bill, things like that for that. We do not require to have a deed or to see that deed because of that. I would say about 60% of the properties that we serve are on heirs property. Anything else? Thank you.
Next up, we have Hunger Awareness Foundation. This is the Sea Islands Blessing Baskets. It's a volunteer-based community outreach food distribution program that provides nutrients, desirable food baskets monthly to low-income families on Johns Island and Wadmalaw Island. Volunteers pack bags or baskets with healthy groceries, including fresh produce, meat, eggs, and bread. In some cases, the program provides basic toiletries like paper products and cleaning supplies to help the clients meet their essential needs of daily living. The requested funds will support the Blessing Basket program for 2 whole months. Sea Island Blessing Basket, they are a reoccurring applicant. They requested $25,000, and that is a full recommendation by staff.
Is there someone here from Sea Island?
Please come up and introduce yourself. Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Louise Baucom. I'm on the board of Sea Island Hunger. I'm the secretary, and I'm the volunteer coordinator for the Sea Island Blessing Basket. I've been working with them for 9 years. We serve over 300 families, which means about 780 people in the households, including grandmothers raising grandchildren. You know, there's a lot of those. Our budget for the year is about $180,000. So this is, a couple months is $25,000. We give very nutritious food, including eggs. They love to get eggs. We give 5 to 6 quality meats, including chicken and hamburger. And then our founder who buys the food tries to get food in the baskets, the bags, to coordinate. So if she gives hamburger, she tries to give taco mix. Really trying to be thoughtful, and the clients really appreciate that. I do want to say we all coordinate under the foundation of Sea Island Hunger. It's a coordination of the gardens, Fields to Families and Sweetgrass Gardens. We have all the family pantries from the churches and ours. We coordinate and we do different weeks of the month, which allow our clients to have food, nutritional food, continuously over the month. A lot of people don't know it's very well coordinated, the food. We also refer our clients, and I do Meals on Wheels with Donna Cook. We go in the clients' homes, and if we see a need, I call Paraclete or I call Sea Island Habitat, and they're extremely helpful with their resources. Thank you. We appreciate every dime you give us, every penny, even though there aren't any more pennies. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next up is the Feeding of the Multitude. Feeding of the Multitude builds on community service work of partnering churches and helps provide for people in need for the Thanksgiving holiday. This organization serves over 6,000 people annually and is expected to grow this year. This event grows every year and now includes over 100 volunteers from 25 different churches on Johns and Wadmalaw Islands to make this event happen. Funding will go directly toward purchasing these Thanksgiving meals. Feeding of the Multitude is a reoccurring applicant. They requested $7,000 and staff recommends the full $7,000. Their representative? Oh.
Appreciate all the support. Thank you. I'm Claudia Boyce. I've been involved with the feeding for 19 years, and it's just an amazing event, and our goal is that every family on Johns and Wadmalaw can have a Thanksgiving meal. And we, hopefully this year, will be able to purchase more gift cards, which will provide their food. In addition to the bags of groceries that we give, we also give them a gift card so that they can buy their meat. And this will allow us to give more gift cards because we had to limit it a little bit last year. So now we'll be able to help them more. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm a little disconcerted by the fact that some of these monies go to provide, I guess, off-duty CCSO coverage, since that's not inexpensive. I would hope that somebody could do some outreach to Sheriff Ritchie and that this be part of regular duty and not have to be paid for with apparently off-duty officers to provide security during the event.
Yes, we've tried. We really have. And we will continue to try. We're just so pleased that we finally have Berkeley Electric that allows us to have it there at their facility. So that eliminated $1,500 that we were having to pay for using Hot Gap Middle School. So that's gone. And we just, all the advertising is through Charleston Sign and Banner donated. There's so much donated. We partner with Fields to Families and other entities. So that's the only outlier still, but we're trying. We really are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Sweetgrass Garden. This local nonprofit farm cultivates 2 acres of vegetables along with fruit and nut trees and bushes. All crops are grown and maintained entirely by dedicated volunteers. The farm's mission is to fight food insecurity by donating 100% of its harvest to food assistance organizations serving families in need on Johns and Wadmalaw Islands. In addition to food production, the farm operates a certified culinary kitchen on site. This kitchen is made available to startup food entrepreneurs and small culinary businesses, providing them with an affordable, supportive space to grow their operations until they can secure their own permanent locations. The organization is seeking funding to rebuild the ramp at its main building. The ramp is essential to ensure accessibility for handicapped visitors, allowing them safe access to the restroom and culinary kitchen facilities. It also enables chefs and kitchen users to efficiently transport food and supplies excuse me, to and from their vehicles. Rebuilding the ramp will improve safety, accessibility, and overall functionality for everyone who relies on these services. Sweetgrass Garden Co-op is a reoccurring applicant. They requested $2,000 and staff recommends the full amount.
Hi. Sure, please.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Wicker, and I am the farm manager and the president of board of Sweetgrass Garden. This is my new board member, Ivy. She's done an amazing job with hosting volunteers on Saturdays. We host cadets from the Citadel, have been coming for at least 10 years to volunteer with us during their semesters that they are here, and they've done a fantastic job this year in helping us get all our produce in the ground with tilling and all the fun things there. The ramp we need, we have a building that Clemson built, the kitchen. Clemson helped us coordinate raising funds to build that building. We also got a USDA grant to help get some businesses started and with a rural business development grant. In fact, More Healing Kitchens, she had to leave, but she started in our building and it's an incubator kitchen, so she grew so large that she needed a bigger facility, so it served its function there. We've had up to 14 different businesses come through our kitchen as a rural development project. So we need to rebuild the handicap ramp so that we can access that kitchen and all our volunteers can access the restroom areas. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I just want to make sure it's not a large amount. It sounds like a wonderful program.
Mm-hmm.
The first paragraph, where the farm's mission is to fight food insecurity by donating 100% of its harvest to food assistance organizations serving families in need, and those are distributed. The connection with regard to operating a culinary kitchen doesn't strike me as necessarily focused to support entrepreneurs on addressing food insecurity for the underserved population.
As I mentioned, Amore Healing Kitchens was incubated in they would not have been able to get started and do the work that they do, providing food for those in need, without the facility that we provided for them. All of the businesses within the kitchen are related to food and they're used by folks on Johns Island or Guatemala Island to develop their own businesses. So that particular piece is a separate piece. However, the kitchen also is where our bathroom is located and where those that volunteer with us are able to use our facilities. Does that make sense? Okay. Thank you.
Next up is the London Foundation. The London Foundation is the only nonprofit organization in South Carolina dedicated to supporting children who have a primary caregiver diagnosed with cancer. Families receive one-on-one support from certified specialists who help them navigate the emotional and practical challenges that come with a caregiver's diagnosis. The organization also provides activities and programs designed to help children process their feelings, build resilience, and feel supported during a difficult time. The funding will be spent on the current 5 families they support, plus trying to add an additional 3 families. The average cost per family is $1,200. This includes 4 to 5 in-person events for the entire family, 6 virtual events, ongoing individual support from a certified child life specialist, and coping and/or comfort boxes upon enrollment and when, if complex or grief care is needed. The London Foundation is a new applicant. They requested $10,000. The recommended amount is $9,600, and this amount came to staff based on the total to support 8 families would be $9,600. $1,200 per family. And I know we have a London Foundation representative on Zoom joining us.
So before we get to that, help me understand how this made it through kind of the pre-qualifier when we were focused on kind of those 4 areas of, you're probably going to say medical, but medical, home, food, and education, sorry. This one seems very tangential to me to medical. So whoever's.
I am just the presenter.
And please remember, all these things are great, worthwhile causes. So I don't want to sound like Scrooge up here, but we're trying to think about everybody in the context in which we're giving these monies.
Okay, yeah, so my name is Krista. I was a part of the team that looked at this organization, and we felt that it fell into the health category in the sense of it's like mental health. Because cancer is it impacts, a lot of people, and for children, it's really hard. And we just thought it was a great organization because they provide certified, the certified specialists that will help these families and these children cope during, these hard times.
So what is the money actually spent on? It says the funding will be spent on 5 current families.
It tells you, so that includes the 4 to 5 in-person events for the entire family. There's 6 virtual events where they do like activities through Zoom. They provide like the counseling with the certified child specialists that are from MUSC, and then like I said, they provide them the tool, like the tools and the different things, I guess, to and stuff. They could probably explain better. I mean,
Hi. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
I'm Maddie. I am an executive director for the Lennon Foundation, and I'm also a certified child life specialist. So happy to answer some of those questions. I know it could be confusing. One of the things that we do as child life specialists is also increase health literacy. So under that mental health, but also education piece for children and families going through a cancer diagnosis. And our specific focus this year is on the Barrier Islands, Wadmalaw. And so for this specific Town of Kiowa application, we really want to focus on Johns and Wadmalaw. And so we have really partnered. We, of course, serve way more families than the 5 that we currently serve on Johns and Wadmalaw Islands, but are hoping to increase by our partnership with the Charleston County Public Library that is upcoming, and then a lot of other outreach partnerships trying to get into the Barrier Islands Clinic. And so, yeah, so happy to answer any other questions specific to any of that.
I think I'm okay. Any other? Thank you.
Thank you, Maddie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Vision to Learn. Vision to Learn program provides access to vision screening, eye exams, and new prescription glasses directly to kindergarten through 12th grade students in high-need, underserved communities at no cost to the students or their families. The approximate cost per student who receives a pair of glasses is $130, and the requested $10,000 would provide approximately 77 pairs of glasses for these local students. The funds will go towards paying for their visit to Hop Gap Middle this year. Vision to Learn is a reoccurring applicant. They requested the $10,000 for these glasses, and the staff recommends the full $10,000.
I'm Henry Blackford. I'm the volunteer fundraiser for Vision to Learn, and the only thing nice about being so far down the alphabet is I get to listen to everybody else's wonderful stories. But couple things. Well, first of all, thanks for the $10,000 and also for the money we received last year. Greatly appreciated. Two things I'd like to mention. We are or have been at Hot Gap Middle School, and I hope you were informed that we were there 3 days last week, and on the first actually had both of our clinics at Hawk Gap Middle School. You could have met 2 optometrists, 2 opticians, the Charleston County School District liaison that's paid by the county but works full-time for us. It would have been a great opportunity. One of our clinics will be at Hot Gap again next week to finish up if you are inclined to go and meet an optometrist, an optician, and watch them work with the children. Another thing I'd like to mention, and this has come up since the application, this year, and this is for the 3rd time, we have a 50% matching funds arrangement. So for $10,000, could increase it to $15,000. It's a little complicated, but it's worked beautifully the first couple of times. The checks actually have to be made payable to an organization called Focusing Philanthropy, another California nonprofit. 2 weeks after receiving a check from a donor, the money, in this case $10,000, and the matching money, $5,000, $15,000, is forwarded, maybe they're walking across the street, to Vision to Learn in California. No fees, no costs, and it is a wonderful program. I do know there are a number of foundations that have strict requirements that the checks needs to be payable to the entity. But from tax standpoint and that sort of thing, my wife and I, we give to them every year, and we've used Focusing Philanthropy twice. It works just perfectly, and I have the contractual agreement that I can share with staff if that's something that you would be interested in. But it is a wonderful program, and we do serve Title I schools. We only go to Title I schools. Do serve 5 Title I schools on Jones and Wadmalaw Island.
One concern, Mr. Chairman, and I think we discussed this last year, and I can't recall exactly how we resolve this, but part of the money goes to compensation for an optometrist or a licensed healthcare professional. And, you know, in contrast with, I believe, Berry Island Free Medical Clinic, for example, relies on donated medical services. And the question is, in a program like this, why do you have to pay an optometrist to deliver these kinds of services?
We need full-time optometrists, and we don't get volunteers for full-time optometrists and opticians. I mean, it's just, we'd have a difficult time staffing our clinics. And it's kind of a unique position, and, you know, the optometrist and optician are only there during school hours. And so they don't work nights, they don't work weekends, they don't make as much money as an optometrist or an optician that's out in private practice, but.
Are they an employee or an independent contractor?
They're employees. They are employees of Vision to Learn.
We struggled with this last year with dental services, and we got around it because the dentists were volunteers, but they had to have a licensed dentist on staff for state regulations. But all the work was supervised by this person, but they were done by volunteers, which is unlike this.
This is unlike, it's unlike that. So.
The other thing we had concern about last year was pass-through donations, going to a different organization. And while I hear you, pass-through organizations. So while I hear you saying we write the check for 10 and you get 15 back,
right,
that has been problematic for us in the past too. Okay, thank you so much.
Do you think there would be an interest to take advantage of the matching money? Because if there is, I will send the actual focusing philanthropy agreement document so that your staff could have that.
So I'm sorry, I thought you said that's the way it would work.
No, that's the way it can work. No, I have some donors, particularly the larger foundations, that just say, no, our bylaws say that we have to make the check payable to Vision to Learn, and I'm grateful for that, no argument. But if they can take advantage of the matching money, obviously it benefits.
That's the pass-through issue.
It's pass-through, and it benefits the organization, and why not take advantage of free money? But I do know that there are some foundations, all of the individuals that have donated, not all, but most of the individuals have taken advantage of the focusing fund.
Yeah, I think historically we've had a problem with
If you do,
pass-through
you do.
money, regardless of the benefit. We understand that. That's how we've treated it in the past. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes our charitable grant 2026 applications.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now we need a motion, right? All right, I need a motion from,
I would move, Mr. Chairman, that we approve the staff recommendations.
Second.
discussion?
Hard work went into this.
Yes, appreciate all the time and effort staff put into this. As we've heard, there's a lot more need on Johns Island, Wadmalaw that can be satisfied by this approximately $250,000. You know, the challenge kind of year in and year out is, you know, for lack of a better term, a little bit of mission creep. We've tried to narrow our focus so we can, you know, have the most impact, and, you know, issues like, you know, enrichment and that education, we've had that conversation before. We've had a couple conversations about whether or not some things are more attenuated than the criteria would otherwise suggest. There's no easy answers to all of those. I mean, I think these are all worthwhile organizations to varying degrees, in my view, and we could, and there are probably many more out there that don't even know about the opportunity to apply for funds. I'm willing to support the staff's recommendations. I might quibble with a couple, but you know, it just.
So, I hear you, and that's sort of where I am, and this is for discussion among all of us. I think in terms of the scope that we outlined, this year going forward, even though we raised the amount, so we wanted to donate more, but have it focused on where there was a real genuine need, and the monies were going to not services or salaries or administrative, but really to kind of the output that was needed, whether it's projects or food. I thought the ones that were tangential at best or maybe slightly out of scope, the Charleston Therapeutic Riding, and again, these are great organizations, no question, and they do a great service. I'm talking about our scope and what we're doing. I would ask you to think about the Charleston Therapeutic Riding as one that's really at the margin of kind of the educational benefits. Charleston Collegiate School, I think the data there is new. It's a new applicant, and the data may not support kind of the need base that we try and fund.
The staff recommendation was for a lower amount than requested, but to your point, Mr. Chairman, if they want to be, if we fund this amount and they come back next year, there probably needs to be a greater demonstration.
Halos, I had some concern from just, given the presentation, feeding the multitude, the administrative costs and the cost of the police service. It frustrates me that the police don't help out more there, but then there's some administrative costs built in. Sweetgrass Garden, building the ramp, that's really tangential to all the good things that they're doing. It's not about the food and the fact that they're in an incubator, and the ramp is for the kitchen that serves incubators. I was thinking about that. And then London seemed out of scope to me as well. Again, super work, but it was, I guess it's medical in terms of emotional support, but I was thinking more direct about that. So does anybody share any of those concerns or issues or?
Well, I'll kind of go backwards. I think the London explanation was sufficient for me because, I come from a military background, and mental health is a huge problem with deployments, things like that. And addressing mental health, I think, is as important as physical health. So that was a good tie-in for me. I guess the discussion in my mind is the criteria, which is an evolving thing. We're perfecting it along the way. Is it guidance or is it rigid compliance? And I think that the staff's recommendations meant the intent of what we're trying to accomplish for the most part. Maybe some variations, but I'm not sure I want to, edit their work on that. I'm comfortable with their recommendations, the way it happened, just when I think about the discussions last year and this year that led up to where we're at now.
And Mr. Chairman, just kind of following up, you referenced a couple of others. I've already discussed Charleston Collegiate. It was staff did recommend a lower amount than requested. And also, hey, let's give the staff full credit because the staff recommendation actually backed out things that we said we would not fund. So again, I could quibble, but it's not kind of worth spending any additional time on. We've just got to continue to course correct. The issue is a little bit to your point about guidance versus hard and fast criteria is we probably need to communicate whether it's one or the other because we don't want well-deserving organizations to not apply because they think it's hard and fast while others do, and it's actually just viewed as guidance, or the staff looks at it that way. And I just think that's something in future years we need to think about.
So what I'm hearing is we have an amendment before us, or a motion before us with no amendments to approve as recommended by staff. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So approved. Thank you all.
Thank you all for attending.
For the hard work that you do day in and day out, and for sitting through this.
And everybody stayed for everybody else.
Truly appreciate the work you guys do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Which? No, I did not. I did not. I will do that. Okay, thank you.
We're still in session here, so if you're exiting, please exit quietly. Thank you. No, we're still in session. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. We need to move through quickly.
Okay, so next order of business is the chairman's report. Really, the only thing I want to talk about is we had our first state accommodation tax meeting. We did talk to the committee about the lowered level of contributions that are going to be available for distribution. We announced at that meeting that it was $400,000. We have since found a way to revise that to $600,000.
Yes.
And so that'll be the monies going forward that we distribute through the state accommodation tax process. We have an upcoming audit committee meeting tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes, I want.
Will be our organizational meeting for the audit committee and with one additional person there. So we'll report back on that next month. That's all I have. Dorota?
Right, so I have 10 minutes?
Quickly.
12? Okay. So first, I just want to give you a quick update on our current year performance. So for the first 8 months ending at the end of February, we have collected 11.4 million, which is a little more than last year to the same period. It's about 6% more. And this amount represents about 65% of our total budgeted revenues. It looks like all the revenues are going to end up pretty much a little higher than budgeted, so there is really no concerns for that. And same thing with the expenditures. We are at 7.2 million, which is about 16% higher than compared to last year, but this is mostly related to actually the state accommodation tax funding, so that's not really all the expenditure.
Timing issues.
Timing issues, yes. So that's pretty much it for the budget. I do want to now go to the budget. As you recall, but I don't know how to change that. Oh, okay. So as you recall, we reviewed the budget draft last Ways and Means, and there were some changes that I have made based on the discussion from that meeting. So one thing is that we have added 30% for cybersecurity assessment in consulting. Yes, thank you.
It's not the language.
That's good. Yeah, I have the language.
And it's the whole thing.
Mhm.
So you can scroll on.
We took out 1.2 million for repaving the Betsy Carrison Parkway, as right now we're just gonna do some patching, and this project will be deferred to the future years. We have a decrease of 400,000 for the construction of multi-use pad connection from the Resurrection Road to the Fresh Fields. Right now, we only have 200,000 there, and this is for the feasibility study to further evaluate this project, the safety and need for this. We added 3.7 million for Captain Sam's acquisition, and we actually, as the chairman just mentioned, increased to 100,000 for the outside state accommodation tax recipients. And that's just a matter of reallocating that money from local accommodation tax to fund the construction of the Civic and Cultural Center.
If I can recommend one other that we just at least track right now, I mean, you may be waiting for Brian and me to get back with you
Yeah.
with a figure, but subsequent to eventual hopeful
Captain
Sam's,
Sam's.
is there is some damage and repairs being done, like where the erosion has happened and the parking lot's collapsing, things like that. I think I forwarded you an email about that.
Okay.
That I think will need to be addressed, some kind of erosion control and repairs to where the asphalt's crumbling.
Okay.
And there may be some other things once we really check out the property. that-
Okay.
Well, mine potentially put a placeholder in. Number one, we're not the owner yet of the property, and we certainly hope to become so, and that's why we've got the 3.7. Excuse me. The lease terms, we're ultimately bound by the lease terms, and there's some real kind of question based on that 50-year-old lease as to who is responsible for what, as between the county as the lessor, as the lessee, and ultimately the town potentially as the lessor, that we just need to kind of work through. And on those kinds of things, there's just lack of clarity as to.
I guess, do we want to err on possible budget items for next year or wait until we resolve things like that?
I think what we do is we put that on our long-term project list. And we think about it as part of that whole capital spending program over the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, I would not anticipate, since there would also, anything that we would do in that regard would be a lengthy external permitting process, not just involving the town, that I would think, given if we get through all the conditions subsequent before there's actually a transfer and everything, and potentially all that, and resolve some of these lease issues, I think it would be unlikely that we'd undertake any kind of project like that within the next budget year. Yeah.
And I'm fine with the chairman's recommendation that we just put on the long-term project list, so we're tracking it.
Okay,
It's probably, maybe I'm thinking too far in advance, but it might be more extensive than just asphalt repair.
I think there's got to be some erosion control, maybe a seawall even, who knows, yeah.
I could see moving some buildings so you could move the emergency access for the beach.
The access roads impacted, yeah.
That's pretty close to falling in, so there's
Those are a bunch of conversations that we've got to have with other stakeholders.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so with all those changes, we would end up or projecting the net change in our fund balance. It's about $260,000. There is one other item that is not included in the budget, however, it's for your consideration to add to the budget, is the consulting services for the stormwater phase 2.
Well, it looks like under changes in number 2, it says they're already increased.
I did it, but then you sent an email to take it out, and I didn't take it out from my write-up. So that's why it's not in there yet. And I'm sorry. So currently we have $50,000 for that project. However, as you see in the memo that was included in your packets, there is a little more detail why the consultant is proposing, based on some feedback from the Planning Commission and the Public Works Commission. Oh my God, what's the name of the committee? There needs to be a little more extensive work involved. So instead of 50,000, they're proposing 260,000. So we would need to add 2010 to consulting line item. And if you find with that recommendation that is coming from John, actually, and Brian, and I can add it for the first reading. So that's.
Mr. Chairman, I actually said I had not approved putting it into the budget, but was fine with it as a discussion item. I've discussed it. The planning director is outside in the hallway. Invite him back in. I expressed a relatively high level of skepticism as to that amount, not the need for, developing new models. But, whether 260, I'm just skeptical of consulting fees generally based on our experience. And we've only gotten one proposal from Weston and Sampson for this because they're most familiar with us. And it's not clear to me, the part of the discussion I had with John is, what is the practical application of spending this money? Yes, useful to have, given the amount of...
I can answer that.
Given the amount of development, redevelopment we have occurring. And the question is, is this quite worth the candle? And that's part of the concern.
John?
So I have the same feeling, and based on our recent experience, and it seems like we've lumped together 3 or 4 things that are tangentially related into one project. I might think that we move slower at a lower budget number and pick out 1 or 2 and really focus on 1 or 2 and determine what we want to get out of them, just like you just said. What are the outcome implications or expectations? But that was my first reading of this, was kind of the same skeptical eye, I guess I'd say.
Why?
So the initial scope was smaller, to be honest, because it had originally come out of the Resiliency Committee. And when Councilmember Kay and I started comparing notes a few months ago, we realized that there's a lot of overlapping effort for what our 2 committees are trying to do that produce different benefits based off what the 2 committees' charters are, but it's the same work in a lot of ways. And there's a lot of complementary cost benefits to doing this once. Developing and John can probably explain this better than me, coming up with this basically state-of-the-art model will provide a lot of information for a lot of different activities the town does. It will help us assess the conversations we've had many times about sea level water rise and stormwater impacts to Mingo Curve, the bridge, things like that. It'll all support development, redevelopment actions. There's a lot of underlying things that this will inform.
And I'm not questioning that. What I'm questioning is the kind of the proposal from Weston Sampson that gets to $260,000. Again, we haven't gone out, I don't believe, with multiple bids for this work. And 2, I'm also reminded from one of the last time I attended the beach advocacy. There is, at least there are 1 or 2 nonprofits or universities that actually do this kind of work for communities. There is some cost to that, but it would be a fraction of this. They've done sophisticated modeling for, I think, Beaufort. They do, is that right? Beaufort, I believe, maps showing all the potential impacts under various events.
This isn't a one and done thing, though. This is an active model that will
No,
continue.
they build, I believe they build models, but all I'm saying is I'm skeptical of the amount proposed by Weston Sampson, given my experience with Weston Sampson and some other engineering firms in terms of what they proposed. And we've had some more recent experience, not necessarily just focused on them, as to the dollar amount, not ultimately some value in having this model.
Yeah, if I can add just a couple comments. We went with Weston and Sampson just because we had the already continuing services contract with them, and so the original scope was what I would say minimal under phase, or the first project, task 1 under that. So once we shifted to task 2, which incorporated the development of this model, this particular model, I'll share just, I think, a few questions that we think this will help us achieve. But then specifically, I think, to the questions regarding the 260, we've already engaged with Weston and Sampson and kind of know that, hey, there's probably some modifications to where that number would be reduced already. And primarily it's because of the deliverables. Right now, the request that's out to KICA regarding obtaining their model from a 1D standpoint, what we realized the 2D model will give us a lot more bang for our buck in future development and redevelopment. So the other part of it, I think.
John, you press pause right there. So I'm aware of the request outstanding to KICA. Has that not been forthcoming?
Yes, it has. I
It
just
has.
forwarded that. She got back to me yesterday, and I just forwarded
Okay.
it. So it's on behalf of
what did
Lance
she say?
and Madeline. She said, yes, Ryan.
Good, they told me verbally 2 weeks ago they
Yeah.
were going to approve this.
Yeah.
What was taking
So it
so
just
long?
says on there that
Okay.
you'll coordinate with Stan Tech to get the information, so I just forwarded it to you.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
That is
Okay,
good
that's
news.
good.
Yeah.
Councilmember Kay.
That's good news because it really serves as the foundational piece to this next scope. And the infrastructure, let me go back. The opportunities, I think, to lower the number comes down into how we sort of formulate what the deliverables are. So the added scope of looking at the infrastructure assessment, that can be probably piecemeal to looking at what specific infrastructure elements are actually reviewed part of this process. So right now we've outlined our town assets, meaning the 2 primary roads, but we've also included key infrastructure like what's been listed in this proposal is MUSC, those types of things from a community standpoint. Those don't necessarily have to be listed in this proposal. It can be sort of a a la carte, if you will, and I think that potentially could bring that, that list down.
So talk to me more about that. If I heard you said MUSC in the same context as infrastructure.
MUSC facility within
The
the
facility.
town.
So we're looking at every critical infrastructure piece, whether it be, I think well, I'm anticipating, or jumping ahead, maybe because it's not necessarily a town-owned asset compared to a private sector asset, maybe that's where the question is, but
Critical asset in the
but we're looking at critical asset from infrastructure standpoint in general.
One of the concerns, this kind of arguing against what I was just articulating.
Keep going then.
Was that, the Kika's model is just the island. Whereas, we as a community, as a municipality, obviously have a broader concern than just the island.
It's behind the gate.
Yeah, behind the gate. So the question is, how does any of this stormwater management issues apply to, development or redevelopment more broadly in the town? And part of the lesson learned there is, did we actually, would things have been done a little differently with regard to the Seafield facility, all the runoff issues that have been associated with that, as an example?
Ocean Pines is another one.
So,
one of the key questions I think
When you
is,
say MUSC, I'm thinking about drainage and electrical generation and roads as infrastructure, not a standalone facility, unless you're thinking of it as a healthcare provider, just like electricity provider.
yeah, in the comp plan exercise, one of the things from the resiliency standpoint is we looked at how does not just roads fold into us assessing or addressing resiliency. So access to key buildings, so even from a standpoint of if we hypothetically were to have to use any of these facilities for a emergency type of situation, can we know that which areas are most vulnerable? And so.
So it's roadways and electrical to keep MUSC open. Right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
So one of the other complicating things about all this, and it doesn't look like it's in the proposed budget, is Councilmember Kay isn't here, but Stephanie and Councilmember Kay have been working on coming up with, this is a follow-on from strategic planning, on a director of resiliency position. That's kind of, it's in there, okay.
It is.
So part of this is, okay, how much of this work, apart from the more technical modeling, is going to be the province of a director of resiliency and to interface with and run, these kind of interaction with outside consultants, if at all, on these kinds of things. Again, I'm just questioning the dollar amount right now, and whatever the dollar amount we might put in, I'm going to say we're going to continue to look closely at scope and probably a bidding process to try to make sure. I just think, again, consultants, $250,000 for a consultant project to develop a model is.
Well, I'm in the same place as you, but mine is not only the dollar amount, but the scope of services and the deliverable. And the way this is, for me, the way this is written is there are 3 or 4 good things to have, but they're tangentially related. And I'd almost like to see a bid for each one separately rather than this pot of
Actually,
goulash
you're
combined.
going to massively grow your number. We looked at that. The reason we brought them together is to do them separately in silos. It's kind of almost not executable, and it starts becoming layering of problems that have a lot of overlapping value together, and that's why we did put them together.
Then your challenge is going to be managing the consultant in achieving that outcome, in achieving the deliverables.
So what's our, since that's not in right now, only 50,000 is in the
Correct.
draft budget?
Correct.
And what is our surplus without the 50,000?
It's
Without the additional 210?
It's 261.
61?
Yeah, it will kind of break it to 0.
Can I jump in real quick? There's something I think might clarify this. John, the 260 assumed we did not get Kika's data. Is that correct?
I believe so. I'm not 100% to be to be honest, the original conversations we had with this 260 was absolutely securing an independent model. So I believe that that is, to your question, yes.
Yeah, so now that we know that Keek will provide the data, I think we need to revise the number because a lot of this was data gathering.
I would support a placeholder, an additional 150,000 beyond the current 50,000 that's in the budget for 200,000 right now. And my hope is still we could potentially even drive that down, but that remains to be seen, but I would support.
The other piece of
What I said was correct. I think that'll work fine.
Okay. So I will add the 200,000 and we need to keep going. Sorry. Well, we had another item to create a green fund creation or a green fund. Green Belt Fund, yes. And but I understand that Stephanie and Councilman Spencer is working on it further, so there are some suggestions that if we want to add something, just initial funding amount just to start that fund for next year budget.
Would you like to do 5 million?
I would. I don't.
Oh, that's half the attention. We just want your attention.
I figured that's what that was about.
So anyway, we can do that. We can just give me some suggestions, and we can start the Greenbelt Fund. That was the discussion. The last item for today. So please let me know before the first reading. The only thing is that. It probably needs to be funded from general fund, so there is no restrictions to use of those funds. And I'm sure with your research with other municipalities, it's usually funded from sales tax, which is correct. So just one more thing before we end today. If you can look at at our budget now by funding. Right now, the general fund is going to be balanced through the reserves, 1.5 million. Only because of the Captain Sam's purchase. So taking more money, we do have it in reserve, so we can have, legally balanced budget taking from the reserves. But if we want to do it this year or maybe next year, just want to bring it to your attention. So.
And again, I'm incredibly supportive of the Greenbelt concept. And I'm also incredibly passionate about us having what we want to do, kind of the scope, the types of project, the eligibility criteria, the proximity, all of that nailed down before we put a number on it. Because I think when you put a number on it, you work toward the number rather than you do your scope. And the scope might say we agree on a scope, and the number might be bigger. Then we might be walking in this. But I'd rather see us have, here's what we want to do, here's how we're going to do it, here's where we're going to do it, and then let's say, okay. And I know there's other folks that have criteria. We've talked about this. Other folks have their criteria, which folks we use, which folks we don't use, why we use that. I think it's incredibly important to have a vision of what we want to do and then talk about the numbers.
So, Councilmember Spencer's kind of been leading this effort, and I've been very supportive of it. I don't have a problem deferring on the internal reallocation of dollars right now and labeling them until we actually have essentially a Greenbelt Fund program design that we're looking to have in place. But I would then certainly, once we get to that point, and whether it's mid-year or adjustment at some point, and even if we reallocate, whether it's $2 or $5 million, and I'm certainly, given our resources, willing to put a big number in there, it would be potentially a long, long time before there would actually be any monies actually dispersed. And we're not tying our own hands. We reallocate this to a Greenbelt Fund. That's just labeling. It's an internal transfer, and we can always kind of reuse that money for whatever reason. It would be expressing intent.
So I'm going to offer an alternative suggestion. We have a list of funds on here, and rather than funding a Greenbelt Fund and having money just sit there, and Lance waiting to spend the money, I know what he's going to be doing. We could reallocate from county accommodation or say tax, whatever, at any time. So I'd almost want to have zero balance in the green.
No, we
belt
can't, it has to be, it has to be from general.
From, I'd rather have a zero balance in the Greenbelt Fund and allocate from general when it's needed, do a transfer rather than having it just sit there.
And that's fine. The issue then is you're kind of,
Forget about them.
yeah, there is a kind of a intended purpose for a slice of our general fund. We can certainly do that. We can do that now, as far as I'm concerned. I've said very publicly, I'm fully supportive of actually, wholly apart from having a Greenbelt Fund in place. If we get an application directly to us, I'm happy to entertain it. We would not have formally thought through all the issues you've raised. We could do it on a one-off opportunistic basis, which is fine. I just like the structure of the county. I don't know why we wouldn't want to kind of do something structured like the county does.
Yeah, I'm not as passionate about that. I'm really passionate about us having our ducks in a row and definition of what we're going to do and how we're going to do it and where we're going to do it in place.
Like
I
the
have it allocated there and it sits there. I'd still rather have our charter, if you will, in place first.
Well, I think I agreed with that, so.
Okay.
So as the mayor mentioned, maybe we always have the mid-year budget review, that we can make some then changes, recommendation, we can designate then the money in general fund for, at that point, we'll have a charter, we have good information, and we can just designate the money in general, the reserves, let's say 5 million, to that fund, and it's not spendable.
Just, I mean,
Yes.
we've
Correct.
done the same thing. We have, however many in beach renourishment.
Correct,
And
yeah.
we're not bound to spend that on beach renourishment.
Yes.
It's just sitting there.
Yeah.
It's, for all intents and purposes, that's a general fund budget.
Yes, yeah.
Budgetary action.
Well, not all of it. Some of it,
No, those are actually, they're coming from the restricted funds.
okay, they're
Yeah.
coming, but they could still be used for any of the other purposes allowed under the
Correct,
restricted funds.
correct.
Okay.
So-
Okay. Any other discussion on the budget, Greenbelt Fund or anything else?
So the only change for the first reading for now is going to be, I'm going to add, instead of 210, I'm going to add 160 to,
50.
150, so it'd be total 200.
or you wanted to, total 200, yes. So 150 to the consulting line item, and that's pretty much, that's the only change for now. Okay, all right, thank you.
Citizen comments?
Well, we've got our first citizen coming in. I suspect it's not for this meeting.
Paul, do you have any comments? Okay. Committee member
That's my
comments?
man.
No.
Meeting adjourned.
Yeah, we've got.
Thank you, everyone.
I've got to go
Thank you.
grab a bunch of
Move back
other
to my other
stuff.
place.